Thanks for taking the time to explore Causal Wizard. This short video will show you some of the features of Causal Wizard and how to use them. Note that to access these features, you have to be registered and logged in. If you've not created an account, click the Sign Up button in the menu. It's quick and easy and there's no payment. Datasets. You'll want to create a dataset to work with your own data. A dataset represents a tabular data file, such as an Excel or CSV file. Click Data in the menu bar to go to the Datasets page. At first, you won't have any datasets. Click Create to add one. Each dataset needs a memorable name. Enter a name, and then select the file that contains your data. Press Create to upload the data. Depending on file size, this may take a few seconds. Causal Wizard expects datasets to describe a group of related things. Let's call these the samples. Samples might be customers, users, devices, properties, equipment, or other assets. Anything really. Each row in your data file should describe one of those samples. One thing, one of your customers, or one of your assets. The columns of your data file should describe the attributes or properties of the things. Each column should give the values of that one attribute, for all the samples. So to summarize, the rows are a list of things, and the columns are the attributes of those things. Currently, Causal Wizard only works with number data, although we intend to add support for text columns in future. Note that only complete rows can be used. Causal Wizard will automatically discard rows which contain unreadable numbers, invalid numbers, and null values. After your dataset uploads, Causal Wizard will automatically create a study with the same name and open it for you. A study is an analysis of a dataset. The Wizard page has two main parts, the Data tab and the Domain Knowledge tab. The Data tab lets you examine your data file. The Domain Knowledge tab lets you define the question you want Causal Wizard to answer. Let's look at the Data tab first. Click the tab to display it. The Data tab defaults to Table View. One page of data is shown at a time. Click the Sort and Filter button to show tools to sort and filter the data. Table View is handy to quickly check the contents of your data file. The other two data views are called Histogram and Association. They're accessed from buttons at the top of the Data tab. Let's click the button to look at the Histogram tab first. Select one or two columns from your data file and you will see the distribution of their values. Distributions are useful to understand the range of values present in each column. Also, the app will display the percentage of missing data in each selected column. Now click the Association button. Then select two different columns from your data. A scatterplot will appear. The Association tab is useful to visually examine potential relationships between any two columns, to provide further understanding and validation of any causal effect later calculated, and to support exclusion of a causal interaction in your causal diagram, which we'll explain in a minute. A handy reference chart shows the forms these relationships might take, as types of association or correlation. In addition, two statistical results are displayed: the Spearman rank correlation coefficient and the Pearson correlation coefficient. These indicate the strength and direction of any correlation that might be present. Spearman's coefficient can be used for nonlinear relationships. Now let's scroll back to the top of the page and change to the Domain Knowledge tab. There are two things to do here. First, we will define the question we want to answer. The question is defined by a treatment variable and an outcome variable. Remember, variables are simply columns from your data file. Causal Wizard will estimate what would happen to the outcome variable if we change the treatment variable. More specifically, we want to separate outcomes into two groups, depending on the value of the treatment variable. One group is treated, the other is not. We call the untreated group controls. If your treatment variable contains just two possible values, Causal Wizard will ask you to specify which value represents treated and control. For example, true or 1 might represent treated and false or 0 might represent control. If your treatment variable contains a range of values, you'll need to provide a threshold value to separate treated and control samples. Click the threshold input and you'll see a histogram of all treatment values. Type a suitable threshold into the box and press Save. Now we have defined the question, we need to input more domain knowledge in the form of a causal diagram. While this might sound scary, it's very easy. There are two drawing modes: nodes and edges. Each node in the graph represents a variable, which, as you'll recall, is just a column from your data file. Click anywhere in the causal diagram to add a node. In the dialog that appears, select the variable you want the node to represent. You can only select each variable once. Click an existing node to delete or edit it. You can change the name, or the variable it represents. Press and drag a node to move it around, in Edit Nodes mode only. Press the Draw Edges button to draw edges between nodes. Press the mouse on a node, and drag the arrow to another node, to draw an edge between them. The objective of drawing the causal diagram is to include all direct causal interactions between variables. You must include the treatment and outcome variables. The treatment and outcome variables must be connected, otherwise the causal effect is guaranteed to be zero, none. You should aim to include any variables which may have an important effect, but try to keep the diagram as simple as possible. Your results are dependent on the diagram being complete, but overcomplicating things may also prevent a viable result. Don't add edges just in case. Try modeling the problem with, and without these edges, and compare the results. A tip: if you're modeling variables over time, you can't have loops or cycles in the diagram. Instead, break the loops by comparing values before and after a specific moment in time. When your causal diagram is complete, press the check button. Causal Wizard will analyze all the information you have provided, and your data file. If there are any issues with your setup, these will be displayed along with links to relevant help information. You must resolve all the issues before you can proceed. Sometimes, you may discover that your causal diagram helps you realize there is never any causal effect, because there is no directed path from the treatment to the outcome. This is a valid result, and you've learned more about your data. Occasionally, Causal Wizard will tell you that the causal effect cannot be estimated because there are no viable estimons. In this situation, you should try to simplify the causal diagram, or alternatively, see if you can add an instrumental variable from your data file. Please search our help articles for more information about instrumental variables. Help articles can be accessed from the Help menu. Congratulations! Once you've passed the check stage, you'll be invited to select an estimand and a model. Only compatible estimands and models are displayed. To learn more about model selection, click the Help Me Choose link. We recommend to select a backdoor estimand where available, that's any model beginning backdoor. We also recommend comparing at least 2 models to see the range of effect estimates. We suggest in most cases to include linear regression as one of these models, unless you are sure that linear modeling is not appropriate. When you have selected a model, click Calculate. Depending on the number of jobs queued, it may take anywhere from seconds to minutes to obtain your result. You can wait, or check back later to find your results. If you wait, a pop-up will appear to tell you it's available. If you come back later, go to the Studies page. You'll see a button marked Results next to your study. Click this button to view all results for the study. The Results page shows all results for the selected study. So, if you've tried different models, or different versions of the causal diagram, all those results will appear separately in the Results page. Click the Open button to open a result. Results are organized into several sections. First, we have key findings, including the causal effect result and a restatement of the question posed. Below findings, you will find a plot illustrating the difference in outcomes between treated and control groups, and a depiction of the causal effect. The next section is validation. We apply a number of statistical tests to validate the robustness and stability of the result. These include a statistical significance test, which examines the probability the real effect is 0 and the observed result due to chance. A placebo treatment test, where we verify that if the treatment is randomized, the effect disappears. A random common cause test, where we check that the effect remains stable despite addition of a fake confounding variable. The validation tests are quite stringent, so don't be too concerned if some fail. Examine the actual numbers and consider these results in the context of the other information, such as the magnitude of the effect and its visibility in the association view. In particular, it may be difficult to pass all 3 validation tests with datasets of less than 10,000 samples. Below the validation tests you'll find a list of assumptions, which are included to help you understand and interpret the significance of the results. It may be worth reviewing them while thinking about the implications of the results. Some assumptions are specific to the model or estimand used. We also include a detailed breakdown of the modeling approach used. This is really useful when comparing results obtained using different models or with changes to the domain knowledge you provided. Finally, we include a copy of the causal diagram used to generate the result. Causal Wizard aims to provide you with a tool to better understand the insights hiding within your data, by applying causal inference principles and machine learning models to answer specific questions you define. Causal Wizard is an enabler, but it's not automatic. It relies on your knowledge and experience to use it appropriately. We strongly believe that you should approach all data science and statistics problems skeptically and cautiously. If you have any questions about how best to use Causal Wizard or need help interpreting your results, please contact us.